So the first part will be the creation myth of Toril, the world where you will be playing in, and there are plenty of videos of creation myth of Toril on YouTube. You guys can check those out as well. And in the second part, there is going to be some important things that are necessary for the campaign and the backstory. So to start with the creation myth, in the beginning, overgod AO from nothingness created time and space. At this time, existence was just shadowy mist, and as the shadowy mist coalesced, it created the first two goddesses, Selun, the goddess of light, and Shar, the goddess of darkness. And these two goddesses actually created the heavenly bodies, and among them was Avir Toril, and thus your planet was created. You could say that Shantia was also created at this point, as she was the planet Avir Toril itself. And after that, the gods were also born one after another. And although I say that the world's name is Avir Toril, you will be playing in Toril more specifically, as at the end of the Dawn War, which was a war between gods and primordials, Lord Ao, the overgod, actually sundered the world into two and gave Abir to the primordials and Toril to the gods. And we will be playing on the planet that the gods were given to, which is the Toril. And to describe the planet, there are actually three moons. First of all, Selun, the largest and most prominent moon associated with the goddess Selun. And the next one is Sharlarian, also known as the dark moon, associated with the goddess Shar. And lastly, the third moon, sometimes referred to as the unnamed moon. It's not associated with any of the deity, but it's there. Now, Toril itself is so huge that not even all the continents were discovered as of yet. The ones that has been discovered are so far Feirun, Karatur, Mastika, Zakara, Ankrome, Osse, Larkant, and Sosal. And basically, among them, Larkant was discovered only 100 years ago. And aside from Faerun, Larkant and most other continents are still shrouded in mystery. So nothing much about them is still known. So you guys are mostly from the continent Faerun, and the campaign will be set on Faerun as well, primarily at least. Now, there are many major events until we came to the current timeline. Among those events, there are the Dawn War, the Crown War, the rise and fall of Netherese, times of troubles, and so on. So, these events are the same as the original Forgotten Realms lore. So, if you guys want to, you can check those out as well. But that's up to you if you want to check those or not. But now, the history that you won't find elsewhere is from the year 1489. So, from here on, I will explain in detail what happened from the year 1489 DR to the current timeline, which is 1516 DR. So, to start with, in the beginning of 1489, small earthquakes began to ripple through Faerun. As time passed, these tremors actually grew in frequency and intensity. Some quakes felt like it was shaking the fabric of space itself. Life of the people was still normal at this point. But after a few years, sailors started to notice that it was taking more time to cross the seas. their charts actually became increasingly unreliable. The seas seemed to stretch, causing confusion and fear. The rumors proved true as it became evident that the continents were drifting apart. Maps had to be redrawn, and long established trade routes were abandoned. Illusions of new islands began to manifest, with some becoming tangible even. And it was not just illusions of the new land masses. People started seeing illusions of monstrosities and aberrant creatures never before seen by the people of Faerun. So, for another few years, the illusions only grew more and more, as if half of the creatures in Faerun were unknown illusions. And these illusions acted as if the natives of Faerun did not exist. Kind of like mixed within the people, but also not interacting with each other. Kind of like that. So, anyways, people tried to find the sources of these illusions, but to no avail, basically. But things were still peaceful as they were just illusions, and people began to adjust with this new phenomena. But everything actually went into disarray as one day all these sudden illusions became real and they started to attack the people around. Now, it was all of a sudden a worldwide war. Coalitions were quickly made, but they fell as quickly as well. The hordes of monsters attacked the coalitions and the big cities first, as if this was some kind of a planned attack. And that is also one of the major reasons why, till to this date, people do not create huge armies or cities, as they are most likely to become victims of planned attack by these hordes of monstrosities and aberrations. But there are few newly created big cities and coalitions who found means of staying hidden. Anyways, after the attacks, news became very hard to get as connection between regions were cut off, and a lot of the organizations that were based off multiple cities became smaller groups, like the ones that came from a single particular cities. Either way, big cities fell one after another, and to make matter worse, natural disasters like cyclones, floods, and volcanic eruption became very frequent. Some regions literally disappeared from the map, leaving behind only huge craters. The population of the natives of Faerun went down to one fifth, and big organization disbanded and made smaller groups. Although catastrophic, it was a moment of opportunity for various cults as they broke many of the seals and freed powerful beings from their prison. It is still unknown to the general people like how many or who actually escaped, but rumors spread as they are kind of like shown the after effects of the seals being broken. Anyways, this only accelerated the downfall of the civilization. As more and more volcanic eruption occurred, the sun was actually engulfed. The sunlight could not be seen most of the days. It could be seen only for a few hours of the day, but that too felt like it was kind of like an evening settings. So most of the time it rained, and often the rains were kind of acidic. So due to all these disasters, majority of the population died, but those who survived were actually the strongest. people divided in small groups, but some large groups can still be found in the enclaves or the hidden places. After the times of after the times of troubles, gods were supposed to be very active to help their followers, as AO made it so that their power depends on the number of worshippers. But for some reason, they seem to be less active actually. No special revelation came to the clerics to take measures against the disasters, or why it was happening, or how they could actually solve this. Even direct miracles of gods, which were still prominent somewhat after the times of troubles, became less and less prominent. With all the gods silent and the world in turmoil, people began to worship the heroes instead. Mortals who stood against the chaos. These heroes born among the people became the symbol of hope and resistance. And this map here is actually the map of Faerun. And you guys will be starting your journey at Shunak near the castle Tethys. It's at the southwest of the map. So it is a remote place close to the seas. The place was a ruined city, but a few thousand people have taken shelter here after the disaster. Some of you actually came here to find safety, while the others came here to maybe restock supply for their journey. But either way, we will be starting our campaign here, and how you are actually going to more specifically start your journey will be discussed in session 0. But that is, I guess, all for this session.